Well, good morning and welcome. This is Tampa Home Talk, and you got it. Myself, Leo, and Adam.
Yay.
Woot, woot, woot.
Today, again, it's been fun, like just us, but we probably need to bring some guests back on, wouldn't you say?
I like guests. Fresh blood, new talent, stuff to talk about other than numbers. I love numbers.
Well,
I love numbers so much.
I was thinking, like, the Strawberry Festival started today, and we have not had Rollerson in, so we're going to go ahead and give them a shout out now about the Strawberry Festival so that they can partake in Tampa Home Talk likely next week. We'll see about getting them on.
That would be
getting
awesome.
Some tickets. We do have a bunch of tickets for the Renaissance Festival.
I wish you told me before. I went to the Renaissance Festival last week.
You didn't ask me. I would have had plenty for you.
I was saying last week how I always go during the Highland Fling, and the Highland Fling was last weekend.
You saw me last week. You should have said, "Hey, Katrina, do you have any Renaissance Festival tickets?"
Do you dress up in chainmail and all this other stuff? How do you go? Or do you wear your Beryl shirt so they know who you are?
I relax. I wear a novelty tee of some sort. That's Highland spirited. My wife, she wore a shirt that said "Mother of Corgis," and it had a three-headed corgi. Game of Thrones reference.
So what's the? I don't watch TV, so you're gonna have to explain what the other thing was you just said. What is that? Is that a movie?
A novelty tee?
No, before that.
Oh, Game of Thrones?
No, before that.
Novelty tee.
No,
Highland.
you said something.
Highland Games, Highland Fling.
Yeah. What is that?
Oh, so that's nothing to do with TV. It's actually a Scottish festival. It's a strongman competition.
They throw like the
caber tossing, sheaf for height, sheaf for distance. I'm not saying sheep, I'm saying sheaf. Mm-hmm. But it's like the strongman competition, and they have a big one every year actually in not Ren Fair, but April 2nd, Dunedin or Dunedin, depending upon how you.
It's the locals that live
like people
here.
that say Lutz.
Yeah, we know it's pronounced Dunedin.
Okay, so in
Boots.
Dunedin on April 2nd, they actually have the regional strongman competition Highland Games up there. It's quite the blast, and if you want
quite,
it is awesome though. I mean, you figure it like Olympics. You got like 3 or 4 different arenas going on, all these different events. You've
kilts
got music,
or no kilts,
kilts all the way.
It's like an old world day.
Love it.
Olympics.
So if anyone out there is from Dunedin and you have a connection to the Scottish Festival Games coordinator, we'd love to hear from them.
Yep. Call us at 813-377-2775. That's call or text.
813-377-2775. I'm serious. I'd love to get someone from the games on the air probably the week before. So like the last week of March.
Kilts to 813-377-2775.
I don't think I've ever told you guys this. I'll tell you and our listeners right now, but I'm like 35% Scottish.
I could tell from the hair.
What does that mean?
Aye, lassie.
It's not like all Scottish people have red hair.
No, but all people with red hair might have some Scottish in them.
Yeah, I've got a lot of that.
Okay, so you're going to go to the Highland Games then on April 2nd?
I don't know, maybe.
Have you been to Ren Fair?
Birthday. Yeah.
What I love to do is after Ren Fair, I like to go to downtown Dade City, and I like to go visit the brewery.
We had the guy that did the Wheel of Death on. Remember, you've seen the Wheel of Death.
Yeah,
right?
no, he's funny.
So we had him on last year, but it was a pre-recorded show, so you guys didn't partake in it.
Yeah, Ichabod. He's fun. It's like one of those, I call it a cheese grinder, but he runs around, he does jump rope, he lights axes on fires, and he...
It was a really good show. You should hear it.
Oh, he's very charismatic.
Have you talked to him?
Yeah, he's super charismatic.
So you know he built the wheel himself, right?
Yeah, he lives in Gibsonton.
Okay, well, yeah, of course he lives in Gibsonton.
We follow him on Instagram and Facebook.
You do? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, I guess we should get to a couple of the fun stuff. Well, first of all, let's give out our number so that we can give away some Renaissance Festival tickets. Because it is the time to go, and we'll give away a 4-pack. So.
Yeah, because this week is Pets and Pleasures or something. Pets and Pirates.
Oh, sounds like fun.
So they need to call Pat for that?
No, they can call or text us to 813-377-2775. Just text Ren Fair to 813-377-2775. We'll get you 4 tickets for you and your family to go to the Renaissance Festival. Again, call or text Ren Fair to 813-377-2775. It's actually been a really long time tradition. They've actually moved it
to Dade City from Mosey. I actually do prefer the Mosey location, only that it's a lot closer.
Yeah.
It is, but they ran out of space. Like they outgrew it.
Yeah. They did.
So it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Man, we had a bunch of sold last week.
Is that current, or I think Leo has the most current
No,
stuff?
it has a line for 3.4.
Oh, she did put it in there. Look at there.
What up? Almost 400? Yeah, no, 500.
Our radio
Over 500.
coordinator's banging on the glass. You doubted her skills and expertise.
Yeah, I know.
She's
did
awesome,
great.
right?
She's hearing this in delay.
And she had a birthday this week. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
she turned 13, 14,
She's
12. She turned 12. There we go.
Yay. Well, and she drives a car that could drive itself, so that's exciting.
Well, not exactly. She didn't do the upgrade on that, but she could if she paid
Anyway,
for it.
sold was $11.94. So it looks like a whole bunch of paperwork that was clogged in this bubble got like funneled
Probably
through.
waiting on inspections. No, I'm just kidding.
So we were
Waiting on
Re-inspection.
insurance underbinding.
we were talking about this cycle. It's funny because I'm like, hey Leo, how was your February?
My February was awesome.
Yeah, but your January not so much.
My January sucked.
So that's a byproduct of our February. Like, because the inspections are at least 30 days ahead, according to what we're seeing even in our stats.
That is true.
30 days ahead. So your January will be, and it tells you how our February
Yeah,
is.
because my business is based on this new listings line item.
Correct.
Your
Oh.
business is based on this pending line item.
Pending and sold really
pending
is
and sold.
sold.
Yeah. I guess pending is really where
Sold.
I'm based on pending.
How often are you going out for re-inspections?
It depends. I mean, if the home is more than 25 years old and they need a 4-point inspection from an insurance agent like Adam Talley to get insurance, and we fail it on something, then we have a high rate of reinspection there. But for regular home inspection, we don't really have a high rate. Unless it's someone like Katrina, who then comes up with an addendum saying you will take care of all these items and then sends us in to make sure they were done correctly.
So
I've got a question about the 4-point though, real quick.
Okay.
So, and I want to know if this is different from like one carrier to the next or all of them. So when is the 4-point actually required? Is it as soon as the house hits 25 years old, or is it different carriers
Oh, it's
require at different
variable.
times?
it used to be variable, right? Some was like 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. Now mostly it's like 30 years guaranteed. You're going to need it regardless.
So a safe space would be 25 years or older.
I would say anything built before 2000, go ahead and get one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where they want them whether it's under 20 years. Now,
Yeah.
if the new regulations, well, they're not in this year, but they're still writing them into the policies where you're going to have that roof clause about a 10-year plus roof. So I can see at least the roof condition assessment being required.
Yeah.
So I got a question about that because we're
okay, I have an
looking
answer.
to build. We talked about
Right.
this, and we're going to put a product on the roof called Decra. Have you heard of it, Leo? You probably have. It's like little. It's literally a metal roof, which pretty much lasts forever. But it's a stone coated metal roof, so it really will last forever. It's a lot more expensive up front, but the lifetime cost is absolute. So I'm thinking, obviously I don't want to self-insure, but if it came down to it, hopefully insurance companies are going to be writing policies with roof exclusions.
So you might see that, although it'd be tough to get a mortgage with a roof exclusion, I would think. But what you'll see is more than likely what's going to pass is the roof schedule, like Leo talked about. And I brought it in before when we had a carrier that implemented it. Roofs like yours on that one, you'll see like architectural shingle after like 5 years it starts to tear down. Tile will start to tear down after 10.
But
or
they
12.
don't even mention the type of roof I'm talking about, right? They might mention metal.
It'll
maybe.
fall under metal,
It would
which
fall
will
under
give
metal.
you a longer. It'll still depreciate at a different time frame than the others. But something like that too, you got to think depreciates less over time than a normal roof.
Have
anyways.
you done any research on those, Leo?
With the coated roof systems, it just depends on what the coating is and different things. So I haven't done research per se in that particular
You really
product.
should look that up. Like it's called Decra, and there's like another competitor that they have.
Decra?
DECRA, Decra.
Decra. Okay, I'm gonna do some research. And,
Yeah.
and really the thing too that you'll
Okay,
see.
just a C.
Okay.
There you go.
There's certain carriers that are usually at the forefront of this type of stuff. They rate it better. You'll see better rates. That'll happen sooner. All this other stuff, and then usually it takes a year or two for the others to follow form. So
I'm looking at the amount of money I know it's going to cost for this roof because it makes sense to get it
So
long term.
these are
But I'm not going to be
these,
pigeonholed.
these are the metals that look like shingles, right?
They actually have them in a lot of different shapes. There's
Okay.
villa shape, there's barrel shape, there's shingle shape. Like you can't even tell what kind of roof it is unless you really, really look at it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Decras that are metal looking, pretending to look like shingles.
Yeah, that too. But there's a bunch of different
When we come back, we're going to talk more about inspections because I saw one yesterday that was a rehab that is just absolutely atrocious. So
we'll talk about that. We're going to spend a few more minutes on the market watch numbers, actually, because we really didn't do that very much. Well, that's California. We're going to have to ask about that. It's 7 a.m. That's why. It's the Pacific Standard Time.
813-377-2775.
text Ren Fair. We'll get you some ticks.
Yeah.
And text me information for the Scottish games for April 2nd. I want to get us
muscle kilts.
Muscle kilts.
813-377-2775. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Welcome home. Leo Kane here with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, reminding you that today kicks off Tampa Bay Beer Week. So make sure you check your calendars and check all the events because there's an exciting group of events. This for the next week, 7 days. There's the Burger Week, there's Restaurant Week, but this is Beer Week. So for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 7 days, you can have beer.
Beer, 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 and more beer. All right.
It kicks off tonight. It's a very, very great event.
Who dubbed Beer Week? Like, where did that come from?
Probably the Home Brewers Guild or the Tampa Bay Brewers Guild.
Yeah.
Or some guild that hangs out at Ren Fair that wanted to have some beer to drink during the week between Renaissance Festival days.
Well, we are very lucky to live in a community that has a lot of events like this.
We have a lot of everything
We do.
here. That's why we're so popular.
I'm very excited that next Friday, though, at one of the breweries in town, there is a metal band called Trivium, and they are playing the brewery. And we're talking about a band that can fill Omley Arena, so I don't know how Coppertail managed to nail them there, but that's very exciting news.
Well, Coppertail, correct me if I'm wrong, they have a lot of outdoor space that they can utilize, right?
Trivium can fill Omley Arena, though.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference between outdoor space and...
Well, you could,
Emily
but you're
Arena?
not trying to get like 50 people inside of a restaurant.
That is true. But so that's a culmination of Beer Week. But I mean, this weekend there's a whole bunch of events where you pay at the door and then you just drink beer. For like 3 or 4 hours straight from like 100 different brewers.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff.
Uber, Lyft, take a taxi, don't drink and drive.
Yes.
Sounds good, but it sounds
That's
like
your
a-
insurance tip of the week.
Yes.
Like a migraine waiting to happen.
Hey, don't drink and drive. I cannot help you.
Insurance tip of your life, actually. Don't
Yes.
drink and drive.
Definitely.
Yes, because if you think your auto insurance rates are high now, wait till you have to file with the state.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what that would be.
$1,000 a month,
Yeah, no. It's not worth drinking and driving. It is $20 to $30 Uber is much cheaper than a $10,000 to $15,000 DUI.
Yeah, it's gotten expensive,
But if I've done
not
1,000
as expensive
Lyfts and Ubers, I kind of feel like I'm losing money now.
as that. Well,
but you've saved lives, which you can't put a price on.
Actually, we can. We're engineers. We put prices on
oh
everything.
my gosh, we're not going to go here.
Anyway.
Let's go back to the numbers because we
Yes,
haven't
the
even
numbers.
said
The
what that
numbers.
was. And then there's a couple of tidbits I'm going to throw in there real quick, which I probably should have done in segment 1. And to answer Adelisa's questions and a couple of our listeners' questions, yes, we have more than one 4-pack to give away to you.
That's
I don't know
awesome.
how many we have, but I think we literally got extra tickets this week.
Nice.
We should have given some out last week. So call or text Ren Fair to 813-377-2775. We'll get you a 4-pack of tickets. 813-377-2775. That'll be fun for you and your family.
Speaking of numbers,
We got the numbers.
so how much does a grandpa weigh?
How much does a grandpa weigh?
Like grandma and grandpa?
I don't know.
Yeah, a grandma, grandpa.
I don't know. Like 150 pounds typically.
That's got to be a grand something. What is it?
No, just typically a little more than a gram.
Okay, a gram. Got it.
Hey, back to the numbers that actually matter. We did finally get over 600 this week.
I'm
on
excited,
new
yes.
listings.
They
So
look
that's
like our
on
new listings are on the rise.
uptrend. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're getting feedback. I love this show. Beer and Renaissance. I love it.
This is
right.
occasionally we do shows on
We
how to
do.
make your life better.
One
and
off,
this is
that's
a
right.
show on work-life balance and how to make your life better because the rest of the show gets really depressing.
Well, it's just a lot of numbers and information and insurance stuff, which, you know, we all know is super fabulous.
Depressing.
And exciting.
Yay.
All right, so the number of active listings this week is coming in at
632. So we broke the 600 mark, which also leads us to having new listings are actually more than what would be half than the pendings.
Oh my
confusing.
gosh, here we go.
But typically, the new listings have been half of what the pendings are. Now the new listings are higher than that, which means we are starting to swing in a direction where there aren't twice as many homes disappearing.
Look how sharp that sold tack is from last week.
I just think there was stuff held up for holidays.
Doesn't matter.
February's got these random holidays that no one takes off other than the banks, like President's Day.
There was a 9-something, but we had 765 the week before, and this week we're coming in at solds at 1194. It's still higher.
80% increase.
I think President's Day does affect it.
Yeah, President's Day,
high.
Washington's birthday, Lincoln's birthday.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Well, that one's a real holiday, but the other two are just bank holidays. So, I mean, you lose 4 days in February to holidays.
And it's short.
And it's a short month
For
to
the
begin
sold,
with.
all that counts is if it's a federal holiday. So whether you think it's a real holiday or not, if it's a federal holiday, the banks are closed. The Federal Reserve can't pass money, hence
We're
you
never
cannot
closed on a federal.
I tell you, the funny part, well, technically nothing can close. Like, you guys are still quoting, but, like, looking at, like, Juneteenth, right, that happened last year, that was interesting because literally it was signed as a federal holiday, like, the night before or some crazy stuff. So we're like, and my husband's a government worker, so it's like, okay, if this is a federal holiday, like, shouldn't you be off? Like, why are people still working? That really messed stuff up for us last year because we had closing scheduled that effectively could not close because it was a national holiday.
You know what was weird, though? Our garbage people came on President's Day. Figure that out.
Well, no money is passing through the Federal Reserve.
This is not a political show, and you should not have gone there.
What? Our garbage people.
Oh, okay. Pending home sales coming in at 1033, pretty consistent from last week. You guys are so cute.
No, thank you.
Anyway, all right. So the couple points I wanted to add on here was so the biggest supply chain issues right now. This is what we're talking about because we're seeing it even in people that want to hire us to sell their home. They're just kind of holding off for a minute because of the supply chain issues, and the biggest ones that are holding back
Windows?
are windows and trusses. And so I thought, let me look this up to see what I can find. So according to Manta, I looked up the number of truss manufacturers in the U.S. There's only 75.
And we have 2 of them here in Tampa, which is awesome.
Who
Tibbetts and
who's the
84
big
Lumber.
ones? Tibbetts, yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. Good. I was actually going to mention that. So Tibbetts.
And 84 Lumber.
Yeah. Well, I'm renovating the other property.
Mm-hmm.
So out of curiosity, when I went in there, I basically had to return a couple things that weren't used. And I said, hey, how long are you guys taking right now to get trusses? This was February, okay? He said, we're not taking any new truss orders for the rest of the year.
Yeah, our design department is gone gangbusters doing conventional framing, which is where we just design sticks.
I can see it. And then somebody assembles it there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stick-built framing. So basically, it's like they end up looking like trusses, but you're assembling them on site.
That takes longer, doesn't it? I would imagine.
Longer than the end of the year?
Well, no, not that long.
Does it
but
take
longer.
now? What kind of? Are you going out and inspecting those to make sure they're put together properly?
No, but I mean, if you order truss packages, they're not going out there to make sure they're installed properly.
Yeah, it's just
That's
the
true.
design. Like, do it this way and it'll function fine.
Yeah, that's what the building department's for.
Yep. Well, that's supposed to be the plan, but yeah.
And then our construction defect division of inspections. That's where that comes in
All
after
right,
the
so
fact.
listen to this spread. So 75 truss manufacturers in U.S.
2 in Tampa.
And according to IBIS World, there are 975 window and door manufacturers.
And I
in
can
the
think of
US.
at least 10 in Tampa that are headquartered in Tampa.
I know. I was trying to think who they were. So, like, I think Pella's local, right? Like, who are some of the other ones that are local?
Pella, PGT, Deco. Now I'm drawing a blank.
I know there's. I know. I'm like, I've driven past some of these manufacturers trying to remember who they were.
Silverline's got a big presence here in Tampa.
I was racking my brain to try to think about that. So it may be a little easier to get
Just
windows.
means the
maybe.
trucks don't have to go very far, but they're still distributing.
Well, at $4.50 a gallon in gas, you don't
Yeah,
want
it's
those
gonna
trucks
matter.
going very far.
Exactly.
Oil prices have not been this high since 2014.
Yeah, this is crazy, and they wonder why there's a weight on cars like Priuses and Teslas and stuff like that are electric. So.
Yeah, the last time oil prices were at $110 a gallon was November of 2014.
It's crazy, the gas prices. I drive past it and it's like disbelief.
Well,
really.
oil prices are on the rise due to the turmoil,
The Ukraine.
but we're not going to
Stuff.
talk about that on this show.
Absolutely. But I am going to mention one thing with regards to that, because refis, I talked to Sarah Cricky at the mortgage firm, one of our sponsors here for Tampa Home Talk. She said that her refis are way, way down because of the hike in interest rates. And so the rates kind of follow the bond market. And so a lot of times lenders will and bonds will rally, and they'll push ahead of that when they know interest rate hikes are coming. And so the rates have already automatically kind of moved up because they're expecting the feds to hike them up. And the interesting thing is the rates actually dropped like in the last week or so because of the whole uncertainty in Russia. So the feds are actually, or Ukraine, with Russia invading, but the feds are actually having a meeting this month in like 2 weeks, March 15th and 16th, to talk about interest rates to see if they're going to keep them the same or actually hike them as originally intended. But because of the Ukraine stuff going on, they may not.
Keep it low. Well,
We should have learned from Shakespeare and from ancient Rome. It is never good for politicians to meet on the 15th of March.
Well, that's when they're meeting. 15th and 16th is a 2-day-long meeting.
Well, and then they go to St. Patty's Day the next day.
We'll know more about it in a couple weeks. All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this because this is interesting. Open Door actually went on record saying that they're like, my algorithms are better than Zillow and Zillow's trash kind of thing, right? When Zillow lost so much money last year, they like pulled out of the iBuyer model, and Open Door is like, no, we got this nailed. We know how to do it. Well, guess what? Open Door lost more money than Zillow in 2020.
Oh, is that why they lost all their money? 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. Text the word Kilt Busters or
Oh my
Kilt
gosh.
muscles.
Kilt Muscles?
Muscle kilts.
Muscle
Kilts.
Kilts. Or
Just
text the
kilts.
word Ren Fair or text the word...
Beer Fest.
You can call or
Text
text us.
Just text us.
Some
Tell us
real
what you're
estate
thinking
advice. Yeah.
That's kind of what we're doing. We're just kind of stream of consciousness over here.
Anyway, we'll talk about this when we come back. There's full reports in there. Stick around.
And welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm Adam Talley with Talley Insurance. And for
Pat George.
And
Well,
with Pat George. All right, Pat, before the tip of the week, what's our question from our listener?
Is the Beer Fest the same as the Renaissance Fest?
I got this as the resident alcoholic on the show. So, Tampa Bay Beer Week is a
Resemble that.
how does that affect your body? That's what I want to know.
Let me answer the question for the listener. Tampa Bay Beer Week is a week dedicated to beer put on by the Brewers Guild at different breweries and locations in Tampa. Renaissance Festival is a fantasy medieval festival that
Old
happens.
World Fair, right?
Yeah, Old World Fair. It happens in select weekends between usually February and April on Saturday or Sunday from 10 to 6. So completely different events, completely different sponsors. You will see a lot of the same people at both places, though, because people who generally go to Renaissance Festival also enjoy beer.
And they do have mead, which is like honey beer.
It is.
It's very good.
So, yes.
I've never been.
So the three
What?
things.
Never been.
Okay, you're going to have to go.
So the three things I've been talking about during our last couple of segments, the Renaissance Festival, which is select weekends between February and April.
Which we have tickets
Select
for.
weekends. It's all weekends, isn't it?
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean Saturday and Sunday. It's not Friday. So it's Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 6. Is different than the Beer Week, which is starting today throughout most of Tampa Bay at random breweries. You'll have to check the calendar to see what events they have. Tap takeovers, experimental brews, special releases.
So they're doing some beer things everywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
Got it.
And then that's different than the Highland Games, which is in Dunedin on April 2nd.
Got it. All right. Tie that into our insurance tip of the week. How's that?
I can't. But
Builder's Risk.
no, that's a different. Well, we're going to talk about that next week when you're not here. No, but what I was going to say is we've kind of been giving updates over the past couple months on the insurance market and how the homeowners market is shrinking and issues abound.
I don't like that check. I just had to rate you this morning, Adam.
And that is pretty fair price to be honest with you. That being said, so we did have a carrier, one that's been around since 2004. Went into receivership and it no longer exists.
Wait,
Ooh,
wait.
which one?
Explain that.
Oh
what
my-
does that mean?
really?
Who was it?
So, receivership means that you don't have enough money to pay all your claims, and the state comes in and says you are no longer allowed to operate your business. Now, in this case, what usually happens is those policies, it happens over time, and those policies you can transfer them to citizens, etc. This happened very quickly. And as of March 1st, now there was a new company that came up that said, we will take all of the policies, we're going to leave the rating the same, and we'll leave all the coverages the same. So if you're one of these clients, you have nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be okay. Your policy is going to move. Now, it happened March 1st. And we started getting word of a switch maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So are you allowed to say what the company is?
I mean, I don't think it's public. It's public knowledge.
Yeah, so
it's St. John's.
Oh, St. John's,
and they're a pretty good one too.
So, what do you think? Do you get information ever on what all the claims were about? Like why they're so upside down?
I mean, I can tell you it's between roof claims, water claims, and assignment of benefits, and if they were overexposed in an area that got, that had been paying IRMA claims for 3 years.
When a $12,000 roof is costing an insurance company $60,000.
Why not
they
just
didn't rate the numbers
stroke
properly.
the check for the $12,000? Wouldn't it be a lot cheaper?
Because you could still stroke it for $12,000 and get sued afterwards because it's not 15 or 20 or whatever it needs.
They can't make them sign a release?
No.
They got a roof? I mean...
it depends.
It depends.
Either way. So the new company is called Slide. I know. So
Slide.
So we have that to look forward to. But the good thing is, with that new company coming in, they probably will have, I would assume we might be able to write more policies. So instead of having this narrow market where we don't have too many options to give to clients, a new carrier entering the marketplace is always a good thing.
So what happens with, I'm a St. John's policyholder, I have a IRMA claim, and now St. John's doesn't exist anymore. Does Slide automatically take on my claim?
I believe the risk does transfer. Now, they don't take on any current liabilities, though, right? So they're not taking on their debt. They're not taking on anything else that they have.
That's actively in process.
Well, I would think that a claim is a liability.
Right, but that would still be paid by St. John's. So St. John's still has to close out all that stuff before.
Okay. So they don't have any money and they have to close out there. Yeah, so it's...
So it's going to go to the state fund?
It could, depends on how it works out.
Oof.
So, speaking of the state fund, I did get that nice little... It was coincidental. I got a nice little picture sent to me from... Citizens.
Let's talk about that. Do you have that? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, I mean it's in my head.
Okay, you go.
So we talked about it last week with assessments, and you guys were asking, okay, well, we talked about the first tier, which goes to citizens policyholders, right? Mm-hmm. And that could be up to 40% on the first one, and then the next tier goes to other policyholders in the state, and that's 2%. Now. It goes to pretty much almost any property and casualty policy in the state. So if you're a homeowner, it's coming to you. If you're a renter, it's coming to you. If you own a car, it's coming to you. If you have pet insurance, it could come to you.
How are they doing that? How?
So they would just assess everyone.
Wait a second. Like if it's pet insurance, does that mean it's health insurance too?
No, because pet insurance,
they're more like wellness plans, actually, when they're selling them. They're not selling you insurance.
It depends on...
I thought the pet insurance was for emergencies, like your dog has to have surgery or they get cancer or whatever.
So, in that case, where it's pet insurance, they might be talking about standalone dog liability. Because that would be...
Oh.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? That would be property and casualty, not health. But I don't have... So, I have a wellness plan through my vet, so that wouldn't qualify for this. But I could write you a pet insurance plan through Safeco, and that would qualify.
So what you're saying is, according to this, if you have a pet liability policy, it's going to go up 2%.
They would charge. I would think the way to do it would be to, instead of sending out invoices, send it to the carriers, and the carriers do an automatic increase on your policy for whatever 2%.
Home up to 45%.
That would be if you're a citizens policyholder, not a...
Where did you just write that policy through?
That's E&S, so that wouldn't qualify.
You just wrote a whole bunch of citizens policies for me.
Yeah, but 2% on $250 is not that much, buddy.
You 40% on $250.
You have that much money. You're fine.
What's the other alternatives?
Yeah.
Exactly. You have $90. It'll be okay. And it's up to 45%.
Leo's like, that's $90 less I can buy beer with.
It's still that plus the liability is still like $500 less per property per year.
True.
So
No, I agree.
at times 9 properties, that's a lot of money.
So why did Citizens send you that?
It was a reminder to everyone that, this is part, and it was actually what they sent to their policyholders. We just got copied on it.
Oh.
And part of that said, I only sent you the picture, but in the blurb that we got, it says they're sound, all this other stuff, but it's important to know that it's on there. Now, with the way they've been rated, and I've been explaining that to people because the amount of Citizens that we're writing, I feel like it's something that there's a likelihood that it could happen for once, right? But when you go to people that are buying a house, numbers are tight, or just general, whatever. If Citizens is $2,000 and the next closest is $3,200, you're gonna roll the dice and take the risk because it doesn't. To pay that without the guarantee that it's going to happen.
So right now, Citizens' marching orders are to not settle any claims and to take every single one of these to trial. Are they doing this because they know they basically have an unlimited bank account to do this with?
That I don't know, and we haven't had any that have gone to trial, so we've actually been pretty good on all of our Citizens.
So they've actually paid them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We haven't had any issues. Typically, now, he's not going to see them if they don't have any issues. That's the thing.
Okay.
Everything he sees goes to trial. So it seems like it's a lot. It's just
I've never had any insurance cases go to trial, but Citizens is right now doing trial. I've done 3 or 4 depositions on one case, and I've done this multiple cases, which I've never done on other files. But Citizens' new marching orders is to do it this way.
Now, something else I have seen, and this is from more than one carrier, is they've been asking, send us a copy of your home inspection.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're trying to look for...
Yeah, that's... I'm not going to say it on the air.
Where they're trying to look for prior damage so they can deny the claim
everything.
or depreciate.
That's standard on our part. I won't take a file. If the homeowner's gotten the home within the last 5 years, they have to produce a home inspection report or a 4-point before I'll even consider doing an inspection to determine if there's wind damage out there. Because we had such an influx, and I can see why they're doing this. We had such an influx of people moving into the homes,
claiming, right?
and then literally 2 or 3 months later filing their claim. I'm like, come on, guys.
That should be a red flag for any insurance carrier, but 5 years seems extreme.
We've had that before.
But the lawyers are basically saying, hey, insurance company, you knew what the house looked like and you still wrote the policy, so this is your date of loss. And then we're saying, yeah, we don't want to touch this.
Well, and it's, some of it's legitimate, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't,
we do
you
have
just
these
don't know.
storms.
You're an inspector, and like you can't see everything. You're not, putting a camera through the pipes or anything like that to see if there's any true issues. Like you're turning the faucets on and doing your other stuff, and it seems fine until it's not. Right? So you just don't know.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times we're getting these home inspection reports, and the home inspection is calling out plumbing defects or roofing defects, like serious defects. And the homeowners of the mindset of there's only 400 new listings, and there's 1,000 disappearing every week. So
people are paying cash.
And they take the homes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cash. I mean, people are literally, like, I have one closing today that is a mobile home, literally cannot find the titles for them. And they're taking title insurance on land, basically.
I mean, I had one where a client called me and, we're setting up the homeowners, everything. They did I got their inspection back the next day. It was a reno. Everything's 2021, right? As far as the stuff. Roof wasn't installed properly on the flat roof portion. So it's like flapping over, not cut right. Like, so that failed. They replaced the electrical panel, but I don't know why they left the old one in there, still wired up, so that doesn't pass. And it's on a 1,200 square foot house. You don't need 2 electrical panels.
No, you don't.
Okay, that was
No, my brain shut down there when you were describing that. I went,
we're seeing a lot of shoddy work, right?
Like,
I mean, are you seeing a lot of
There's
that just because of the demand?
Cloth wiring with plastic on the outside of just,
No, that's the good stuff. Cloth wiring that has the plastic coating.
Well, this was the not good stuff.
Well, unless you're retrofitting.
I'd have to show it to you.
Yeah, there is cloth wiring that was installed with plastic around the outside, but if they're just taking the cloth wiring, coating plastic on it, that's not good.
I thought all cloth wiring was like taboo. No?
No.
Okay.
We can still write it, Citizens, but most competitive anyways.
All right.
This is this People's Choice Insurance over here. People are as
Well,
popular
I'm
as
a consumer advocate because I want you to pay as
This
little
is Tampa
as
Home
possible.
Talk, and I'm sure we still have some Renaissance Festival tickets. If you would like them, you can just call or text us at 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. We'll be right back.
Peace out, y'all.
Welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. So we were talking earlier that Zillow and Open Door were doing something silly and they lost a bunch of money, right?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing. Like, Open Door kind of slammed Zillow saying, Zillow's algorithms are trash. We have it figured out, all this sort of stuff. Last week, Open Door reported losing $662 million in 2021 compared to Zillow losing $528 million for the same year.
So these are basically search engines that make money by charging realtors for the privilege of putting their face when people are searching.
And the problem is realtors are not really paying them anymore like they were. And when that shifts, it's going to be even less.
So then they
Because the
decided.
experience agents like me don't pay Zillow.
Then they decided to get into the home flipping business.
I'll tell you a little. So they went into the iBuyer, we'll buy your home and flip it for a profit. It's ugly, we'll make it pretty and sell it. Yeah, they lost their you-know-what on that. And so we were talking about this earlier, and during the break, you were saying, well, Amazon and Zillow were one of these companies, or not, Amazon and Google were companies that
both
lost
of those
money.
companies, they Google and Amazon for the first decade, when they were just search engine, they lost a lot of money. And then eventually they figured out how to make money. Amazon through becoming a marketplace, Google through basically taking over the internet and saying, hey, let's advertise everywhere.
Well, think about the infrastructure behind both of those companies on what had to happen to make them what they are today. It's pretty substantial infrastructure.
Yes.
And you look at a company like Zillow, right? Let's talk about them, for example. What are they known for?
Wrong. They're known for the
Zestimate.
estimates that are highly inaccurate.
The Zestimate, right. They're
It's
known
the
for
fan fiction
Zestimate.
of real estate.
So here's the thing, and here's where I think Zillow kind of, burned their bridge, because they initially came out into the market and they said, to agents, let us help you, right? While they're building this major search giant, right? Let us help you promote and market your listing. We're going to make this super pretty, user-friendly site that consumers are going to love to search on, right? So people do. They always either go to Zillow, Realtor.com, or Homes, right? They're always looking for information on those. They like some of those home sites. They're taking things away and tweaking it, which consumers don't like here and there. But basically, when you think about it, their value proposition is their Zestimate, and they're not very good at it.
They're not accurate.
As a matter of fact, they lost $528 million because they're so inaccurate about it.
I think
so
back
what
to-
is their value proposition?
I think back to search engines. Now let's go back to the dawn of the internet, 1991 to 1994. People are coming off bulletin board systems. People are using search engines. Progeny and AOL.com are starting to do these. We're going to roll a search engine. We're going to roll a search engine or a limited search engine into your internet subscription. And then you had an explosion of search engines come out. You know how many of the search engines from that time period are still around? And there was like over
Not
100.
many.
One.
Well, Yahoo, yeah.
is the only one that from the dawn of the internet. It's very
What
tough.
about Bing? Are they around anymore? Or are they gone?
Bing was bought by Microsoft.
Okay.
But they weren't around back in the dawn of.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So things like Google came later. Things like Bing came later. Bing got picked up by Microsoft, and that's how like Google did Chrome, which is a piece of Firefox, and that's how things started to roll up. But I mean, you have to think, out of the 30 or 40 first search engines, only one survived. So for a Trulia, an Open Door, a Zillow, if they're selective search engines, they're in a really competitive market.
Here's where I think Zillow would really be a better value add, if you ask me. And this, when I look at like the Realtor Party, right, and I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors, so I hate to even say anything, not on the up and up about them. But the bottom line is they used to own Realtor.com, and then they sold it.
Who did, Zillow?
No. Realtor.com was owned by NAR.
Why
right?
would NAR sell something that valuable? To their brand.
They sold out agents. So a lot of agents like me feel like National Association of Realtors sold us out when they sold Realtor.com to Move Inc. And so I know it's confusing. It's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But here's where I think
what's confusing,
Zillow...
and I need to clear this up for our listeners real quick. A real estate agent is someone with a real estate license.
Correct.
A realtor is a specially branded agent of
National Association
just
of
realtors. So they basically created a proper noun, a trademark term, and then spun it off and sold it.
Correct. Yeah. So here's the thing. Like when you look at this, and the biggest challenge people like me have is the amount of money that they charge us, right? So when you really have to be a realtor to operate as a real estate agent in this. You have to, or you're not going to be able to be.
And your dues
effective.
are what, $1,500 a year?
They're expensive. I lose track of what they are, but they're expensive because you have to pay state, local, national dues. That doesn't include your MLS fees, your e-key fees, and all those other things.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking your MLS access is.
Yep. If you're asking me, like what I would do, especially with how controlling NAR has gotten on the data. So you've heard me probably briefly mention that I used to be able to take a listing and then I would work with my seller on what the timeline was going to be to get that listing live on the market. And then we would open it up to everybody on the market and, have live showings at that time. Well, now National Association of Realtors has gotten so controlling. They want to know exactly what day. They want to control every aspect of it. They don't even want I'm not even allowed to publicly market or advertise my own listings until it's open to the general public for every realtor to see. And I know what they're trying to do, create this fair, balanced, whatever, but it's never been that, or that sellout would have never happened. So for me, when I look at a company like Zillow, their value proposition should be people that do not want to be part of the National Association of Realtors. And then you'll see like this great divide among brokerages because now they've got technically like the biggest search. They should become like an MLS search type platform.
Well, wasn't Zillow and even Keller Williams, aren't they coming out with their own version of the MLS?
It's been in the works for a while. I mean, Zillow really is that. They really are. And so when I look at this, and this whole heated debate thing started because MLS tried to fine me $50 for a property I have that's a short sale. And I put in the realtor notes that the seller has the right to accept backup offers. So to mark that on the backup, on the short sale addendum box, to mark that particular box. That's what I put on there. So the MLS was trying to fine me for marketing a listing that was pending. I'm like, we don't have a contract on it. It's active. This is instructions to the agent on how to properly present an offer that the seller is looking for. And we went back and forth and round from this. And then I have some $8 an hour employee calling me, tell me that they're going to shut down my MLS. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you something. Like, this will be the biggest dogfight of your life if you shut that off. When I paid my dues, I followed the rules, and they just have too much control. I think that's the challenge. So if it were me, I think Zillow's value proposition in the future would be to partner with agents that don't want to be part of the political nonsense, if you will. That's probably all I should say about any of that.
Wow.
All right, rant over. This is Tampa Home Talk. Thanks for listening to my nonsense. If you appreciated it, I'll take your feedback.
And we never got to our live listings.
I know.
And our radio coordinator is staring us down. She came in here just to specifically have us do this.
So text us and we'll give you this. We actually have 3 open houses, or 3 properties coming live that are not yet on the market. 813-377-2775. We'll be back next week.